Yeah.
Is
I
so
writing is based on accuracy. Like I cannot if it's not accurate. I do my research and yeah, accuracy is one of my best things in my hand. I have to be accurate. It's hard.
yo. That's just some deep shit. But we going first. I'm gonna do the intro. Then I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit more about yourself, and then I'll get into the questions. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So today on Negro and Distressed Black Girl Tired Book Talk, we are honored to sit down with a rising voice in multicultural Black literature, ADJ, the author of the emotionally layered and soul-searching novel Lost and Found, a new author with deep roots in storytelling that challenge societal norms. ADJ writes with a raw vulnerability, exploring the quiet violence of colorism, childhood trauma, and the complexities of being a black girl growing into herself in a world built to misunderstand her. Lost and Found is not just a coming to the world with truth, it is a spiritual unpacking. ADJ gives readers a mirror and just a window into the lives of those often silenced or erased or grew up in childhood trauma. Let's welcome this multifaceted and fearless ADJ to the podcast.
Okay. Hi. Yes, I'm ADJ. I yeah, my first book was published last year on Christmas. My next the sequel is it's not really a sequel. I guess I wouldn't describe it, or my beta or Archimedes wouldn't describe it as a sequel. It's more like a mirrored version of a certain character that book will come out next week on the 28th. It's I guess like this is the first book and it's pretty thick. Like you said, you're still reading.
Yeah.
And this is the second book that will come out on the 28th. So it's shorter, but
So and let me ask you, let's begin at your very beginning. Who is ADJ? And how did your journey as a writer begin? What inspired you to create this identity and voice as an author?
so ADJ is a combination of things. My mostly pertaining to my I guess Weaver nerd side because I like anime and off brand goofy things. I'm so different from my family. I like different cultures and different music. As far as writing, I was always decently good at writing. When I was younger, I used to get good grades for writing. I never liked it because I didn't like handwriting, but like that was one of my best subjects. And I wanted to do drawing at first. And
Mm.
that's how it started. I was trying to do drawing and do a big fan fiction for an anime I really liked. And I was doing a lot of editing as well. And I was like, okay, I know all these skill sets, these art forms. And then I was telling my friend who helps me, like, keeps focused. I was like, okay, give me a writing prompt. I'm going to try to write a story. But my mind doesn't work simple. She was like, okay, write me a sad story. And I was like, okay. And it started building up. And she was like, girl, I wanted just like two paragraphs. What is this? And it became a whole big thing. I'd have to, when I first started, I was writing kind of like a comic version of it. And then I was like, okay, I need to stop and realize what a novel is. I haven't read novels since I was like a teenager, and I used to read urban novels like Eric Jerome Dickey or Zane and stuff. Like when I was younger, my mom had them. I was like, oh, when you're finished, pass them to me. So I used to read novels, but it's been so long, I didn't understand the structure of a novel.
Mm.
So when I got back into it, I started reading IR interracial novels. And yes, it brought me back. I actually was reading male novels, but they were like novels that pertain to a show. Like I would watch the show or read it and then read the novels every now and
Mm.
then. But I didn't understand the structure of novel writing versus like comic writing and stuff.
Mm.
So, because a couple people, when I first started, she was like, "Oh, you're kind of writing like a script, or seems like a play." And yeah, so I had to pause my writing and start reading other people's novels and understand how the novels and so I never really got into when I first dived into it, it was mostly indie authors in the beginning. I don't think it was like a traditional here and there, but when I dived into it, they were already indie artists.
Okay.
So I got very big inspiration from people like Kenya Ryder, Kenya Clark, or Jamila Jasper. So
Oh, you and
yeah,
Kenya Clark. People don't know about Kenya
they
Clark.
don't. And I actually just got some news about her, but I don't know if she wants TikTok to know
Yeah,
more.
I
It
heard.
actually made me, yeah. I literally cried and told her, like, but yeah, she's go fighting through it. So, but yeah, because she was a big inspiration when I started. Her King Wright, like I said, to me, Jasper, and some other sprinkled in there
Mm,
that I definitely read and really liked and dived into.
mm.
But those are the
So,
ones I binged for sure.
what's the personal story, the personal backstory behind Lost and Found? Was there a moment or a series of events that led you to write that story?
um, n- no, not really. I just like the well, I've always liked the IR factor, like watching movies like A Bronx Tale, like something like that, or even like the historical factor of it. Um, stuff that's not allowed. And I had a friend who was a Marine, and I was talking to him like I kind of want to write a story with someone who's like MIA, like or had a wife or something who's MIA, and he has to go through the motions of that. So it's not really relatable. I would say it's pure off the top of my head. There are some scenes I would say that are more like me, that
Mm.
like the food aspect. I did cook some of the food in there for sure. I can't say it went 100% the same in the book, but I did make some of the food. A character in there, Lewis, he's definitely like me. He's like the male version of me, but he's a little bit more outspoken.
So let me ask you this. How has society and specifically the unspoken and spoken spectrum of hate shaped the core of this novel?
um, because I feel like it's we're never gonna stray away from hate. It's gonna be there.
Mm,
Yeah, years I've been doing for years of people telling you what you can and can't do. When honestly, I'm a big believer of all kind of love. Like it's Pride Month. I'm a big supporter. I may not be in it, big supporter of that. It's just it's so much hate, in the
mm,
world, and I like to read and write things that can overcome it. But as you said, I throw reality into it.
hmm
It's still there.
Yeah. So in Lost and Found, you address childhood traumas and the need for parental acceptance, especially when it comes to fitting in both the family unit and society's color based expectations in friendships. Why
Yeah.
was it important to center those themes?
Um, because again, I'm a big history buff, and that's a big part of it. In history, um, your parents, like the '80s or before, parents influenced the kids so much, and it was like what they say goes. And if you look down the line, your parents are influenced by their parents, and they influence you,
Mm,
and only they can really change your mind. I have different family members that changed because or grew up different because of their parents.
mm,
So yeah, parental guidance is a big thing, but once you like people like the dad, and when he left that environment, well, he was never really he always saw like the flaws in his
mm,
father. So once he really broke free, whether he was caged in or not, he understood that he could change for him and do
mhm.
what he wanted. You know,
Yeah.
he's like, it may not work out in the end, or it may, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna do what I want because he ain't looking. He's not.
Yeah. The father really, and it's crazy because the father is not only the white version of the black older generation, where the black older generation has been set in their ways about certain things, expects us to follow suit. The white generation comes from that lineage and expect their kids to follow suit. And the fact that it was in the 80s where people think it was free and everything else, it was still going on just as it was in the 60s and 70s. It's just
Yeah.
that it wasn't filmed.
Yeah, like I said, his father was older too. Like, because I don't know if you caught the details, but the situation with him and his mom was not pretty.
Yeah.
Um, and so his father still had older mentality, and a lot of people. I mean, my friend asked me like, "Where's his father from?" He's actually from the north, and yeah, now they lived in Virginia, but when he was younger, and his backstory, that's where he was from.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's from the north. And then like you have those rich, white older men who grew up isolated themselves. So they
Hmm.
don't change. And then you have the older black parents who grew up seeing that those older the older generation white people don't change. So everybody is just like we go our own ways because no one wants to change.
Hmm.
So when they put it on their kids like that, their views are already tainted with it.
Mm. There's a moment in the book where the father makes a statement about Prince, the artist, and him wearing makeup and masculinity, rooted in old doctrines of homophobia and toxic masculinity. Why did you feel it was necessary to explore that dynamic?
Because it's accurate.
Hmm.
Back then, they wasn't having that.
Yeah.
You know, I love Prince. Like I have a picture of him. Actually, what I wrote, I had to rewrite it because I'm like, I can't do that to Prince. Like it was like I'm not. But they studio was sue me with the quick. And I absolutely love Prince, but back then they looked at people like that. Unless they were big friends of certain rock stars like Mick Jagger and like I said, Prince that dressed that way. But even then, they gave them the side eye. Like
Hmm.
that's not masculine. Like what are you wearing? you
Yeah.
know. But I love it. I absolutely love it. But yes, some of those parents are like, you better not do that.
Yeah.
Yes, hi everyone. I can't see everyone, but I'm saying hi to seeing all the hays and highs.
So in the book, there was also a part where you didn't shy away from touching on the adoption system
Yeah.
and black children and being trafficked for money, for debts, and the abuse of trying to take the innocence from these children.
Yes.
Um, and what pushed you to include that difficult but necessary conversation?
I it's not recent, but every time I hear about like the adoption system, and honestly, if I had a bigger space, I would love to adopt. But everyone is, they most likely do it for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give Madison a strong backstory because she comes from, and I wanted her to relate to her daughter as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the adoption system can be a flip of the coin. You do it for the right reason, or most likely you're going to do it for the wrong reason. And even though a lot of people do it for like money,
Mm-hmm.
her parents were already, you know, well off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what is the real reason? And
Mm-hmm.
it's they want to, like you said, sort of trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
They want to hand her off for something even bigger. And all she was just like, she was just trying to get away from the orphanage system. And back then, I'm pretty sure it was worse than what it is now. From
Mm-hmm.
my gathering of information, nobody wanted to be an orphan back then. They just wanted to get out. So she was accepting her situation. It's not that bad. It's not that bad till it did get bad. And all she wanted to do was take what she can get.
Mm-hmm. I've I have family members that were over the social service system here in Chicago and the horror stories.
Yeah.
Even with their hands being tied because of situations with the government, and it's just crazy. But more or less, it'd be black little girls and black little boys.
Yeah, they're quick to take children away. My cousin, she will never see her sons with again, and my sister is going through something similar. But they are quick to people are quick to call them, but don't realize the repercussions of it. Like you're taking the child away and putting them into something possibly worse, and you don't know where they're going to end up at. Of course, like their living situation might be bad, but
Mm.
like think before you do it. Like think about maybe plan it out better than just
Mm.
throwing them anywhere.
I think uh they because you brought up the broken family aspect of it. The the society says that we should have the nuclear family, but
Mhm.
they are also part of the problem with displacing children and taking them out the family. And I'm not talking about the ones that do bad. I'm talking about good people. Just
Mhm.
because somebody felt a certain type of way, and so the repercussion was, we're not trying to hear your side. You're just bad.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
like that you brought that up. You talk about Madison. Madison, in one part of the book, she found healing in music. She
Yes.
heard Unpretty by TLC, and
Yes.
she said that represented her so much. And then she heard songs from MC like Queen Latifah and stuff like that
And India
that gave
Ivy.
her,
Yes.
yeah,
Because
that
she
gave,
grew up isolated. She didn't know, that
mm,
music. She didn't know. I'm sorry, I got the message. She didn't know anything about that. So when she got it, like when she got adopted, they had records, and these are all songs I actually really like, like the Frank Sinatra records and stuff like that. But her step or adopted mom was like, because she was mixed. I can't think she was mixed, but she didn't want to accept her black half, so she didn't want none of that in her house.
mm-hmm,
So Madison never got the opportunity, but when she ran, and music is a big thing to me. It's like my therapy.
mm-hmm,
No matter the genre, I can listen to anything, and it's like some country songs just have me bawling, anything. But it's just the words and the way it's spoken. It can bring you up and make you look at life differently. So
yeah,
yes, when she got to listen to Unpretty, it spoke to her because even though she knew she was a beautiful woman, she never had anyone to tell her because she grew up in a household that made her feel like being a black girl with thick hair and dark skin was not okay.
mm,
Like they made her straighten her hair, perm her hair. Sometimes the perms isn't nice. That's why I wrote. She was like, "Oh, I kind of like it," but they made her feel like it wasn't acceptable to be naturally black.
mm. In one part where her daughter went over to what's his name, Lincoln, or what's his name, whose house?
Lionel,
Huh? What's his name?
Lionel,
Lionel. I
Lionel,
said
or
Lincoln.
Charles.
Lionel's house, and she
Yes.
had ran in there and immediately just was like, "Oh my God, you're such a pedophile. Give me
Yes.
my child." You know.
Yes. Because like like no one's gonna accept that. Like, where's my child? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know you. Like, you a man that's 50 years old. Please, why are you feeding these children? Like, I don't know you.
So with Lionel and that title, Lost and Found. Lionel's beginnings were horrible,
Yes.
horrible, and to be accepting of something that was totally against everything he grew up believing in.
Hmm.
Now, what lesson did you want us to learn from that?
That it's okay to have your own personal views because, like you said, he grew up differently. But if you look into like the prologue, you realize like he wasn't really down with it. He
Mm-mm.
wasn't. The way his mom was, pure Irish, and his dad treated her like crap already. Like they were outsiders themselves, and he was barely hanging on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to be, don't, to not bandwagon because I hate a bandwagon. It's okay to not, we grew up with our parents, what they think, but once you get to a certain age, once you become your own person, it's okay to have your own opinion.
Yeah.
Love who you want, whether it's another race or the same sex, you know.
Yeah. How has writing Lost and Found changed you, not just as a writer, but as a person?
Um, I've always been me, to be honest. So I wouldn't say I guess the experience, meeting new people, on my writing journey,
Hmm.
particularly, I don't think I guess doing the research, it's not really about how the book changed me, because everything about the book is me already, and how I would word anything. A lot of the life lessons straight from my head, I don't
Hmm.
look that stuff up. The poem, I didn't look that up. That was literally me, looking out the window one day
Yeah.
and oh, this is a great poem. But I guess just writing and the indie author journey is just a whole nother skill set. Meeting
Hmm.
new great friends and learning, I can do this, That, I guess
Hmm.
that's one thing writing the book told me. I can do this. I can get to the finish line,
Yeah.
Because I wrote half of it. Then when I got done binging so many novels, I wrote the rest of it, but had to go back and read like the beginning of it.
Yeah. It's very emotional. And the fact that, like I said, you talk about racism, you talk about being influenced by having racist parents and breaking out of that. You talk about being a black girl in a society that don't like black skin, hair, facial features,
Yeah.
or the fact that a black woman is successful. What you doing here? So
Yes.
why was that important, especially that aspect of being a black woman in a successful career and
Yes.
raising a child outside of marriage because
Because
of whatever reason?
yeah, Madison was already smart, and I don't. We all love a good, you know, regular romance story, but the lack of successful women in them, or strong women, like Charles was, coming on to her. He had his career, but she can do her own. She can be
Yeah.
her own. She was already really smart, and when I was plotting it out, I was like, okay, he needs a doctor, but let's not do no regular man doctor. He can have a successful black woman daughter, her own
Mhm.
story, the whole line. you know,
So, what is it about empowering people to look outside of not just race, but misogyny, um, outside of looking into walking into somebody else's shoes, from the being an adoptee to being a man raised by a racist father and changing their tune as an adult, to being a single mother but not married, but you took your time and adopted a child outside of that.
but she adopted her because she saw herself in there. Katie was an outsider. I don't know where you're at, so I can't touch on too much. But yes, Katie was an outsider. She was in basically a foster system with no one to care for her. So
Mhm.
she definitely saw an opportunity make someone to help someone not grow up the way she did. That was
Mm.
one of the big things. Stepping into someone, as far as stepping into other people's shoes, just think about, there's a whole different person's life. When someone's having a bad day, I ask them how your day going, or like it must be a rough day. I don't make it worse because you don't know what that person's going through.
Mhm.
You know, some people's jobs are worse. Like, especially like I went to go get my client some food yesterday, and the lady at the fast food counter, she was just kind of rude. But I have to think about it in her shoes. They have a line out the door and only like 5 people working in there. So
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
think about it. How someone else's life may have affected them. Don't get mad at them. Don't make it worse. It's a lot of violence and fighting and stuff going on. Think about how someone else is living, growing
Mhm.
up. Their
So,
situation.
so What, as a new author, are you focused on longevity or fame? What does success look like for you?
What's the first word? You said longevity.
Longevity or fame? What does success look like for you?
Um, I guess the longevity, just to know that I finished it. I guess I'm not really looking. Look, I'm a big introvert. Like it takes me a lot to even do this. Fame, I rather not. I would rather not. Don't make That's why my Arthur picture is something I designed it because I'd rather not. I'm not big on fame. I'm okay in my corner. So just to know that I made progress in something that I can say I did. And when I look at my books, I'm like, I typed all of that. What was I doing? Like, why do I have so much free time? Like, that's a big book. Like, what am I doing typing all of that? I guess it's just to know that I did it.
I like that you spoke truth to power in your book and you stay authentically yourself. I love that. So, are you looking to pursue a traditional publishing deal or are you choosing to stay indie and maintain control of your voice and message?
Right now, I'm liking learning more and more about indie authors. I do my own format and I do have my editor, but I also go over it with her and I made some really great friends just being an indie author. And I'm learning what the process and how everything goes with being an indie author. I don't know. Before I started, there was a publisher I was gonna go to, but they seemed like a small town publisher, and I kind of forgot about them, to be honest. And it's funny because it's the same publisher Kenya Clark went through, and I was like, oh, they do good publishing, and then they give you a free audiobook, and I was going to go with them, but their communication wasn't frequent, and I don't, I'm not going to say I don't like the company because I do. I just don't like, you know, not too much communication. Like my editor, once we vibed way before she even edited my book, and I told her, you're stuck with me. I'm not about to keep going through editors. Like whatever I write, I'm coming to you. Like we're not about to do this. So yeah, I want her like, I'm a little weird, so you're stuck with me. But I thrive on communication. My artist, she stuck with me. So I told her like I'm gonna keep coming back to you. The person who did my Facebook trailer, I want to keep coming back to him, but he, I don't know what happened to him. He up and disappeared. But again, there's no telling what other people have going on in their lives. So
Yeah. So, are there any new genres or tropes you're eager to explore in future books? Paranormal, black girl fantasy, street lit, queer romance?
I read I read a lot of male romance. I'm actually currently reading a long series, and that's what I was reading before I hopped on here. And it's funny because I'm listening to the third one and reading the fourth one because I skipped the third one because it was. I'm not big on like white shoes, reverse hems, and stuff like that, or harems. So it was three guys, and I'm like, I don't really like love triangles, so I skipped it. But then they were in the fourth book. I was like, I kind of want to know what happened, and it's actually really good. But they definitely have love triangle trauma going on. So I definitely read like male romances. Actually, all of these are male. um, so and I'm working on a fantasy, a rom com fantasy. It's a Cinderella retelling.
Mm.
Um, I would have showed the cover, but when my tablet is going dead, and I'm kind of redoing the cover a little bit, so I kind of want to reorganize it. Yes, and it's Korean Asian man and black woman, which is Korean and a black woman, and I love Korean like stuff as well, and I do my research. So, um, yes, and like I said, a lot of them are like this book is very multicultural. It has like at least four languages in it. Because I have a friend from Nigeria and I have a Haitian friend, two Haitian
Mhm.
friends now actually, and another friend who was able to confirm the Hispanic language, the little bit that's in there. So
Well, the black diaspora is big. We're not all the same nationality, so I hope people
Yes,
realize that.
yes. Because I'm with urban, like, again, I don't really bandwagon, so I don't really read. I'm be honest with everyone. I don't really read YT books because I can watch that. If I want to write teen romance, I can go watch it. And same with urban. I kind of like I can go watch that. But I will support, like, I do have friends who write it that I will support, but it's very hard for me to get into that because I kind of like taboo stuff. It's more interesting to me.
Mm.
Um, so I try, like, my second book is borderline urban because it has the 80s feel and the way they talk, and the it does have like action, like, killing the stuff in it. So it does feel like urban. It does have an urban feel.
Mm.
So I will, just as long as it's not like Tyler Perry ish type stuff, because I'm like, I could just go watch that. But I know a lot of people do rate that. It's just hard for me to get into something that's, so regular, in my opinion. Not regular, but it's just repetitive, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, with urban people, it's okay not to read it as long as you don't bash it. That's
Oh,
that's
no,
not
no,
you.
I definitely don't
No,
do
I'm not
that.
saying you. I'm saying in general. I think the problem with urban fiction is so many people that don't read it, they bash it, and so they take it upon themselves to go through an extra hula hoop to say how bad it is because it's to them traumatic. But at the same time, life is traumatic. So
Yeah.
um, it's okay not to like it. Same with white books. Um, white books, I read them as long as the plot good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the author's not problematic. I mean, I like J.R. Ward. I don't like the shit she put on Passion Flicks, but I like J.R. Ward. You know what I'm saying? I like urban fiction, but I dive more into paranormal fantasy, sci-fi, and horror.
No.
Those are more my thing. Romantasy somewhat. As long as it don't have fucking fairies and shit. But but I dive into those things. I like those things. I think it's healthy to have good positive conversation about that. Cause you
Yeah.
can't force people to like one genre because you like the genre or a majority likes the genre. And that's okay. I think it just comes into play when people start bashing it. Same with IR. You don't have to like IR,
I've
but you
been
don't need
through.
to bash it.
I've seen so many people bash IR, and IR is like under there, maybe even below, like cute, like queer woman, like LGBT writing, because that's even more known. IR is so like underrated, or like under the sheets, and it's so many authors who write it, and I've seen so many people who get bashed for it, and it's like they're like, oh, I've seen some people, I forgot her name, but she was talking about, like, she wanted to cuss out a writer, and the people just started going at Jamila Jasper, and it's like, oh, well, she has a fetish or something, and I'm like, I don't understand it, because for one, I really love her right now, I really do, and there's other IR writers who push out stuff that's just, you know anything, and they I've seen so much IR bashing, and if people, I don't know, in the comments, if you've never read it, like, just try it. It's something so different, and you'll see like a whole new fresh genre than you know YT or even urban. It's like a good mix of, especially like the ones who are like forbidden. It's like
Hmm.
it gives like the stories a little something extra.
I think what I am an IR reader. Kenya Wright is everything. Kenya Clark is everything. I love Kenya Clark and I love Kenya Wright. I like Kenya Goree Bell. I like Dari McCoy, Evelyn Sola. I like them. Um, we gonna agree to disagree with Jamila. Um,
Okay.
she, whew.
There are some of her books. I'm like, okay, girl.
No, it's that Zodiac. Whew.
Oh, I actually listened to some of it, but I didn't finish it. Like I
I
started it, but I
I
didn't finish
can't get
it.
down with the falling in love with the Klansman. I can't. I
With the
won't.
what? The
The falling in love with the Klansman,
what?
the son of the
What movie was
Klansman.
that? I don't
That
even know what movie
the
was that.
one where the girl was going to college, and then she to pay off her debt, she did an arranged marriage or whatever marriage. New,
I don't know which one that was.
it was one of the Zodiacs. Matter of fact, I think I have a review on it, but it. And then the son, the man living in the cabin that saved her while she running naked, damn near into
Yeah,
snow.
I don't remember that one.
And
I
he
didn't. I only read a few of those. Honestly.
look. I really try to support a lot of indie authors, but then that line, it's the line.
With
That
her,
line was
my line with
crossed.
Jamila is like her age gaps be so weird. Like the dad of the ex boyfriend or something. The age gaps is where I draw my line with her. Like I'm like, okay, your age gaps are a bit much for me.
See, you know, bless her heart and her ministry. You know, it's just not for me. You know,
uh,
uh,
Theodore Taylor wrote something similar. I don't think they were, they were supremacists, but I don't think they were Klan. But he had lost his memory, and then fell for her, and then realized like who he was later, but still wanted to keep her. I forgot which Theodore Taylor. I think it was in the Fairgoods story, one of the Fairgoods. And then another, the cousin, he wasn't actually with. They were in the group, but he wasn't with it. Like he was like over it.
I
So
I think I love Theodora Taylor. She's like one of my favorite. Um, I think the reason why I have a bad rep, not because they don't do good writing, it's the ones that are loud about subjects that are very detrimental to the black woman experience.
yeah,
I think that those are the books that fall in those lines. You know, that, you know, the black woman is supposed to be submissive to this man.
yeah, yeah.
Those
That's
are the
why
books
I
I
like it
think
like
people have a
that.
problem with, and unfortunately, they overshadow the really good books. So people automatically like, if I see an R, I'm not reading it, you know, and that's a shame. That's a shame. That's why I said me and Miss Jasper, no,
Yeah, she
absolutely,
does have very submissive, like female MCs, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and some of them I'm like, this is very unrealistic. Like, but
Nah, I'm good with that. Now, mind you, I read y'all, but when the line gets crossed,
yeah. Another one that's like, see, there are some with that. I wouldn't say clan, but like a big racial aspect. But like there's one called Love and War by Sarah Lynn. I forget. I think that's her name. And it was historic. They were German, um, and like, well, he was, you know, uh, I don't know if I can say the name what they're called,
uh-uh.
but they were German. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it. They were German in the middle of the war, but he was a doctor, and he was just classified as one, but he wasn't actually one. But so it was illegal for him to fall in love with this French black singer. And he was just like, who told me I can't fall in love with her? And he was like deep in love with her. Him and his friend had the situation with his friend got so sad so quick because they said it was illegal for them to do that. And I don't want to give a spoiler, but it did not go well for his friend. And yeah, so since they were classified as such, just because they were German and German doctors to the war, they was classified as them. And so it was illegal for them to do that, even though they were not even with it. That's like one of my favorite books. It is an audio book on Hoopla. It's free. But yes, it's one of my favorite ones. Um,
Huh.
that I
Well, I don't know.
yeah, it was a real deep story. Another one that you
I
probably
said,
won't
what's the
like is
title?
deep too. Love and War, literally like Love and War. I can't even pull it up. My tablet is dead. I wish I had a copy of it, but I don't. Um,
Um. So, with that being said, what advice would you give other new authors, especially Black women, who are trying to publish their first book? What's the one thing you wish you had known before putting yours out?
I needed money. um, I'm trying to think. I didn't know it was that expensive. Like you have to pay for that, the ISBN, the barcode, all kind of stuff. Like, um, other than that, oh, I guess someone gave me this advice. Uh, get to the finish line, even when you feel like, you don't know what you're writing. Get to the finish line with your draft, your first draft, and then you can go back. Just know when you finish it, you can say you finished it, and at least you have something to build off of. Even if it's like trash, because I did it too. Like I draft out everything, and it's like, okay, I know this, and then I fill in the blanks later. I guess that's one of the things people say. Like even if you don't even know how it's going to turn out in the end, once you have written something to the end, you can see what you want to keep, what you want to throw away, what you want to fill in. Other than as far as indie authors, um, even if you want to go the traditional route, I would say try to do the first book on your own, because I had a friend who did just get hurt, because she just wanted to do the traditional way. And honestly, every time I meet a traditional author, they're so bland. They don't really talk to you. Like they don't really do anything. Like I brought someone a traditional author's book from a gift shop at the hospital, and I reached out to her on TikTok. I was like, "Oh, I really like your book." And I got it from the gift shop. She was like, "Oh, a gift shop? Wow, thank you. I don't know how." She was just like, my publisher must have did that. Oh, and I wanted to talk more with her about her book, and that's all she had to say. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then her book, like it was a simple plot, and like there were no acknowledgments or nothing in the back. Like, and thank your editors, thank your workers, all the people who support you. That's one thing I do in my book. I thank my beta readers, my editors, everyone, who all help. Please thank your people, because again, you don't know what they got going on. They take the time to help you build up your project.
Mm.
And I don't see that a lot. Like you could just make one acknowledgement section, put someone's name. Don't even got to be their real name. Thank your people.
So, how do you approach marketing your book, and what platforms or strategies have helped you for that?
Uh, I'm still learning about the marketing thing. I did have a someone who helped me with my first one, but I think he turned out to be like a scammer. I didn't want to think about him. I used TikTok. I learned, like I said, I did have some video experience before I started writing. So I started using like CapCut more, and I do have make my own videos and use that. I need to be more active on my Instagram, but Instagram is kind of, unless you on that team, like get a big, thick following with Instagram, it's kind of slow. I did recently make threads, um, so I'm working on that. Facebook, I have my own Facebook group, which is a book a day with ADJ. It's like I try to post on there, but I'm still new at everything. And everyone's like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. I'm just one person so far. I don't even know how people get PAs right now. And I learned how to do the art. A lot of stuff I really learned how to do on my own. It's one
Mm.
step at a time. Learn how to do arc reads. Evelyn Sola has been like a mentor to me, and also my editor. When we first started, she definitely helped me her name's Erica. I can't pronounce her last name. Sorry. Yes, and now she's in a chat. DJ Gunn. She's helping me as well. Like I have a lot of author friends who are like guiding me, or we're walking one step at a time.
Yeah. So, do you have any book signings, events, or upcoming readings we can share?
I recently did a. It wasn't an official signing, but I did like a bookstore event type thing. I don't have anything coming up because I want to save for my audiobook. So I
Mm-hmm.
have a GoFundMe. I have one chapter done because I want to use it for promo. I wanted a piece, but he was like, "You might as well get the chapter done and get your money's worth." And if you follow my Patreon, you can listen to that for free. Uh,
Mm. Is a link in your bio or no?
I think I put the Patreon link in my bio. If not, if you go to my group, it's on my group. I believe I did though. I have to check because I had to put my Archery link in there and then the GoFundMe. So the Patreon link might be in it. So if not, I'll probably update when we get off of this. It's I'm trying to organize everything. But the first chapter is out on my Patreon for free because I don't really do none of this for fame or money. I really like to do stuff for free, not free, but just to do it, just to have fun with it. When I first started my book boxes, people were like, "Oh, I think you should raise the price," and I didn't really think about it because I'm having fun with it, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But I do. I'm trying to raise money for my audiobook, which
Okay.
is part of my GoFundMe. I went to go to the one of the boozy book tour in October in Chicago, but
Mm-hmm.
I was looking. I had everything mapped out. I was looking at the hotels, and I don't drive, so I was looking at how I was gonna, which one was the closest to the event, because how am I gonna get there and back? And but I was racking up all the prices, and then I'm gonna want to buy books. Like I really just want to save for this audiobook right now.
That's understandable. There will be plenty other boozy book tours.
Yeah.
Where can listeners, listeners, where can listeners follow you on like social media or any of your sites?
Well, like I said, here you can follow me on my Facebook page. It's called a book a day with ADJ. It's a book group. It's small, but I post when I can. Um, Instagram, I think my name is reverse ADJ Arthur or the ADJ Arthur because Arthur ADJ was taken. Threads Arthur ADJ. Um, and then I have an Arthur Century page on Amazon or Zon or whatever people calling it nowadays. I think that's pretty much it. TikTok, Instagram. I just made a Threads and Facebook, of course.
Okay.
So
So where can we purchase your books?
on Amazon, or you can. Well, I don't have any now. I had copies. I don't have any right now. I was gonna say you can ask me if you want a book box, but I ordered books and that orange man in the sky update like made the shipping price so high it like made me so mad. But I ordered more, and then I will have more physical and signed copies to sell out and of both books actually. So you can either get a single box or a double feature box or one of either one. But right now it's just only available in Amazon.
Okay. So we're finna wrap it up and I'm gonna do my outro and I just wanna say congratulations on becoming the one.
Thank you. Can I ask where you at in the book? Because you